So, Krish, you've been one of our first students when we started the Innovation Hub at Cathedral. And we just wanted to kind of have you talk about, in your own words, you know, what the Innovation Hub was about, how it affected you, what have you learned there?
So, I mean, for me at least, now I would consider myself sort of part of the maker community. And what the Innovation Hub did for me at least is introduce me to that. So, I mean, since I was even before the Innovation Hub, whatever, when I was younger as well, I would sort of build things, but like with cardboard and like a hot glue gun, etc. Basic stuff. But then, I didn't really have access to anything else that was, more technologically advanced or like, something that was more complicated. And when I joined the Innovation Hub, that's when I remember the first class when we did Blink. And, that was the first time I got introduced to microcontrollers. I knew a bit of coding before, but like I never really applied it to something. It was more like, random code that was just, you know, but then after, joining the Innovation Hub in that first class, I realized, wait, I can do something with this. And then I remember Rupan sir was there and Carl sir was there. And the fact that I used to go every lunch and talk to them and, I'd discuss projects with them. And, because they're more experienced, they sort of guided me in like how I could move forward with projects. And, it was more like they gave me resources. So it was like 3D designing, it introduced me to that. Even like 3D printing, that was my first experience with it. And like now it's like one of the most useful things I know. Um, so yeah, it just basically introduced. And also, so on my starting projects, it was really really helpful because, as I said, I was going in blind because I didn't really know anything, and this was sort of the only guidance I had at the time. um, because I didn't know how to properly. Now I just use the internet because we don't have access to the Innovation Hub in senior school. But back then I didn't even know like what on the internet I should use, or like all the resources that I could have is what basically they taught me. So like one of my first projects was R2D2. So I just thought, okay, I'll get an Arduino. There are a couple sensors. I'll hook them up, whatever. But there were so many issues I was facing. And I remember I came to the Curiosity Gym as well later after building that thing. And it really helped me out. So it was not just like I ran into a lot of code problems because of memory and certain other issues. And it wasn't just like Rupin or someone fixing it. It was them telling me how I should fix it. So it's more of me also getting a better understanding of how the microcontroller works and, just like helping me become better as like a maker. It's also like say like physical skills, like say soldering, which is like it's not a soft skill per se. It's more like hands-on. Like it, I was in the seventh grade, like sort of dangerous, I guess. I don't know, because it's like that hot iron. So like obviously stuff like that, like they were attaching the wires and stuff. Because like a lot of my connections kept getting loose and all, and that's when like I didn't even know soldering was a thing. Like I just thought wires come as it is and you can connect them. But then they told me this is a soldering iron. This is how you solder. And like after looking at them for like, because I came like a couple of times after like two, 3 times of looking at them, they got me like a practice board and I practiced soldering a bit. And then I mean now like I solder quite well after so many years. Like the other day I met one of my physics teachers and I ended up designing my own circuit board recently. And he
Really?
saw my soldering work on that, and he was like, "This looks like professional work or whatever." And I'm like, "No, this is just me at home." And like, it all started because I learned at the Curiosity Gym. Because like I wouldn't even know what it was without.
What is it that you want to do when you go to college?
And for now, I'm studying engineering. So I mean, I always wanted to do something related to the sciences because like that was just something I was drawn to. But like yeah, definitely the whole my engineering journey started at the Innovation Hub. Like I can't deny that because it's like what drew me to engineering is building cool things, whatever I want, expressing my ideas in physical form, and that started at the Innovation Hub. So I'm currently going to try and study mechanical engineering. Learned I am drawn towards aerospace a little bit because I started learning about CubeSats and designed one, and you know I just see where I go.
Tell me a little bit. You mentioned a few of your projects that you worked on, R2D2 and Blink, but could you explain what those are and any other projects that you worked on over the years at the
The R2D2 was basically my first robot. So I
you
mean,
made your own robot?
yeah. So I don't know what my plan was. It's supposed to mimic the Star Wars one, Star
Okay.
Wars R2D2. So
Wow.
uh, for now, for like initially, I just wanted it to be an autonomous robot, obstacle avoidance. But I also I gave it like I put in like a sound module, so it had like a soundboard sort of where it would make multiple noises, sort of like R2D2.
Mhm.
And then I also added a PIR motion sensor so that if it met a human, it would like if like someone passed by it, it would turn towards the person and then make a different sound. It's just like sort of gimmicky, but like I mean I just wanted it to be sort of like one of those robots. Another thing I did work on was Catch It. Was this game I developed with the Innovation Hub for the game design tournament? I remember. Now, I remember I was the only one who did an Arduino-based game while everyone else did like physical games, and that was really different because that was the first time I worked with a display. I hadn't worked with a display before, and it was just like it was something new that I learned because it was also I learned it wasn't just learning how to use a display. They also taught me multiplexing, uh, and then because the Arduino has limited pins, you ended up using this protocol called I squared C. So how I squared C works, how each bit is addressed to a hexadecimal code, and like it was just something really, and even the code for it. So it was like I only used if statements up till then, and then they use switch case for this, and I learned how like that's more efficient in this use case. And then also how random variables work because it's sort of like a snake based game, but like it was like a variant. So I had to kind of work with random variables so that and then counters, etc.
What advice would you give students in, let's say, in the lower grades, from junior school coming to middle, or middle coming to senior, or even in senior school, on uh, just developing making skills, or what are the kind of skills that are needed that you kind of picked up that they may not know about?
Yeah. So one thing definitely is this is just something that takes time, and you can't really like you can research about it, but that's not going to really develop the skill. You have to do it hands on. And I know there's like at least for me, I didn't really know where to get a lot of the stuff to actually work on it, etc. So definitely, if you find someone who is in the hobby or the innovation hub, for example, because you all have a lot of the resources that I would have really liked to have. I mean, now I do have most of the resources, but like say like a 3D printer, the wire cutter, soldering iron, the breadboards, everything. Like I didn't, you don't know what's used for what, etc. And like just having someone to like guide you is just
Having a mentor who
yeah, you wouldn't like you don't want someone who's gonna build for you. You want someone who's going to like just be like, the whole thing is just start off with, you want to build something. It's not like you can it just has to come to you. Like it's just for fun, right? So it's like say you wanna recreate something from a movie, like Thor's hammer, for example. So I mean if you know someone in the hobby or like you can go to the innovation hub, you can just go there and you can ask like, the so like how would I recreate something like this? And like it's just the thinking process, like going stepping a bit backwards and thinking. Okay, so like for example, take Thor's hammer. Its main function, how would I implement the function, then think about how I would design the actual structure, etc., the electronics. um, yeah, and like the innovation hub is great because it has all the resources already there for like almost everything someone's going to build.
and in what way has it helped with you with your confidence?
So I mean, it's definitely so like because of this, like with every new project, I try to do something new. So it's more like help me like try new things. For example, um, after the R2D2, so with the R2D2, it was just everything was new to me because I never done anything like that. But then after that, I tried to make my own power supply. So when doing that, like then I started learning stuff on my own as well. But I also like so something like this would require there are a lot of safety precautions you should take, right? Because it is electronics after all. So I after like consulting with the teachers there who obviously advised me on do's and don'ts of whatever. I did look at the internet as well, and with that I learned about power electronics and like basically with every product I was learning something new. So then I started a bit of like carpentry and like using a saw, a drill, etc. I started learning how to do stuff like that, like hands-on work, and not just that. Like as I continued my what do you call coding journey, also became better, and how to make code more efficient, etc. So it's just you learn as you do it. So